Let's try a quick activity. I want you to first take out a piece of paper. That's right, a piece of paper and a pen. Now I want you to draw a line down the center of the page from the top to the bottom. To the bottom. Now, I'm going to say a few words, and when I say these words, I want you to write the first letter of the word on the left side of the page, and then the remaining part of the word, I want you to write it on the right side of the page. So here's the list of words: unappreciated, neglect, belief, refuse, everything, answer, key, action, beast mode, light, and last but not least, everlasting.
Now this is what your paper should look like.
While using the line used to divide the left side and the right side, I want you to create a rectangle starting from the U to the E. Now I want you to ask yourself this question:
How do I become unbreakable?
with everything going on in our lives, from business to personal, whether it's to do with your finances or to do with your relationships, sometimes we get to the point where we start to feel almost broken. But ask yourself this question: what is it going to take for you to become unbreakable? Well, there's a question I tried to answer so many times before. The reality is, I've been through my share of things as well, just like any other individual. And I got to the point where I felt unappreciated because I had dealt with so much neglect and disrespect. But my belief in God kept me sane, and I refused to allow the devil to come in and rob me of everything God had and has for me. Then it finally happened. I found my answers to the questions that used to come as a disturbance. I've realized that the key to get rid of every negative thing that I was going through in my life was simply just to take action. That's right. I had to go into beast mode. And how did I go into beast mode? I decided to clean out my closet. I had a lot of friends to tell me, hey, have you ever seen that movie called War Room? And I was like, no. And why should I? Like, what's so important about me seeing the movie War Room? As much as people had urged me to look at this movie, I kept ignoring them. And I'm like, I'm good. Like, I don't need to look at the movie. Like, leave me alone. I don't need to look at the movie. At least that's what I kept telling myself. And then I decided to buckle one day, because life had began to get really rough. And as it got tougher, I needed a way out. And I had to figure out something real quick. So I decided to look at the movie War Room. And while I looked at that movie, I literally cried from the beginning to the end. Literally. And it wasn't just the fact that I was able to relate to it, but it made me realize the biggest thing that I was missing in my life. I kept trying to fight battles myself, forgetting that most of these battles in life are spiritual. The battle is not mine, it's the Lord's. The day that I watched that movie, I jumped up off my bed and I went into my closet and I turned into Bernadette from Waiting to Exhale. It was like boom, 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 like everything must go. I started cleaning out my closet, everything. I'm throwing everything out, like literally, I'm cleaning the closet out. I started, throwing the clothes out, throwing the shoes out. Next thing you know, I had an empty closet and I was able to take a deep breath in and let it out. And my closet was clean. And I came in my closet and I brought my Bible in there, right? And I began to pray in that instance. And after I finished, I turned around and I walked to the door and I reached for the doorknob. And I opened that door and guess what I seen? A room full of mess. See, sometimes when we're trying to clean out something, we end up leaving a mess behind. And that's what happens when you decide to do it yourself. But when you give God the full permission to take over, to come in and clean everything that's going on, there's never a residue left behind. There's never a big clutter left behind. You can lift up that rug and you better know that under that rug, it's clean. Because God doesn't leave any evidence. He doesn't leave any trace of that mess. But he does leave you with a lesson learned from that mess. So it is important to take those messes and get the message out of those messes. The more and more that I went into my closet and I prayed and I prayed and I prayed, I stopped fighting battles on my own and I started giving it to the Lord. I'm trying to tell you, it gets real around this camp. And the more I did that, I started to realize and I started to see the proof of my life just changing right before my eyes. And in that moment, I realized there are 3 ingredients to living a life worth living. And those 3 ingredients is prayer, faith, and action. They say faith without works is dead. So understand that you have to put some action behind that. So with everything that was going on, I started to literally see the light. I started to see more clearly. I started to realize that it wasn't just me. It was bigger than me. Life is bigger than me. And the more that light in my life began to grow, the closer and closer my relationship with God had become. Now, I'm not going to say that my life is perfect and I got it all together, got it all figured out. That's definitely not the case. But I realized that in order to have everlasting peace and everlasting happiness, I must have everlasting faith. Understand that life is only as hard as you make it. You got to learn how to take the high road. Listen, I'm not saying to ignore the signs and the things happening around you, but you got to learn how to acknowledge them and move on. Make a mental note to self, and trust me, it will irritate the devil more just to know that he's already lost this battle. I am author Chanel Williams Curitan, the author of Almost Broken, The Secrets Within, and I am signing off. Peace.